welcome to a review of the most fun thing I've ridden on since the school prom in 1991. This is my Engwe e-bike. Now, those of you who live in the UK are probably familiar with the bike to work scheme or variations of it. Those of you who aren't, it is essentially a tax incentive provided by the government that allows you to buy a bike up to a certain value without having to pay any tax. And that is how I got this one. So this is the Engwe Folding Fat Bike. It has a 48 volt electronic system with a 16 amp hour battery. It's got hydraulic front disc brakes and hydraulic rear disc brakes. The gears on the back are a Shimano Altus 8-speed system. The motor is located in the rear hub. From me ordering it to arriving at my door took 4 days, and it does come semi-built, so there is a bit of assembly to go with it. They have got warehouses all over the world, EU, UK, North America, and also if you are watching in Australia or New Zealand, they are looking at that market as well. When you order it, it comes semi-built, and it also comes with a toolkit, so you have everything you need to put it together. There are a selection of Allen keys and spanners. I didn't need any of these, but they're here anyway. You also get obviously the bike and the charger. This one's got a Shuko plug on the end with an adapter. If you're in North America, you'll get one with a NEMA plug on the end. The bike itself is predominantly aluminium. Designed in California and made in China. The frame has a hinge joint here where it folds in half, so if you undo the safety clip, pull it, you can fold it in half at that point. On the other side is the charging port, and the battery sits in here inside this chunky framework. Underneath we've got a rear damper and a fairly elaborate linkage system. There's another hinge joint at the front fork where you can fold it in half. The starter key to start it is underneath, and that also locks the battery in. This is the charging port, so plug in there. The key to start is under here. At the back you've got the kickstand, which is on the non-drive side. You've also got the tail lights, and these are proper tail lights, so when you press the brakes they do come on. There's a loading rack here which is of a decent size. You can get quite a lot onto here. For the transmission, got a single speed crank and then an 8-speed Shimano Altus system. It is an e-bike, so you don't really need lots of ratios. Inside the rear hub is the motor, which is 750 watts claimed. The rear mech hanger is guarded, and it's fully guarded, and you can see I've had a bit of an accident on there, and it's protected it really well. The chain is just a simple 1/2 inch affair. The front we've got these 4-inch fat tyres. They're quite robust and I've used them on everything, shiny asphalt to riding over sand on the beach. The hub bearings inside there are 6000 series, and it looks like a 1 or a 2 series, so they are extremely meaty. The front disc is hydraulically operated, and they're quite effective. There's a front mudguard that comes with it, or a fender if you want to call it that, but I took it off because you can go a bit faster without it. Above that you've got a light, and that light is operated from the handlebar. The front fork has suspension which you can lock out with this little switch here. Toggling that anti-clockwise opens it and clockwise locks it. Moving up, the headset in this bike has a double angular contact bearing. It needs to be fairly robust because the bike does weigh a fair amount. Above that you've got this joint here where you can literally fold the handlebars over like that. So that's quite easy to do. This joint is on a taper, so even if it wears out, it will not go slack. At the top we've got the handlebars. They are on a rotary joint, so you can adjust the angle to whatever you want. You've also got some additional height adjustment in there as well. The brakes are up here and they are routed for right-hand drive countries, i.e. the right brake on this bike does the front wheel. If you're buying in a different market, then your bike brakes might be set up the other way around. On the right side, we've got the Shimano index lever, so if you press your thumb on that, it goes up the cassette, and index finger goes down the cassette, so the index finger lever is there. The brakes are linked to the motor, so as soon as you press them, it disengages instantly. So on the left hand side of the bike, we've got the rear brake, also a thumb wheel for power, which is the throttle, and the control box or control switches to turn it on. At this point, I can also show you the bell and the rear tail lights, which will come on if you press the back brake or even the front brake. They'll both switch it on. The post is adjustable and it's got a quick release, so you can move it up and down. The seat itself is on a couple of rails and you can just get an Allen key and then move that forward and backwards. It's a massive seat, so if you have got a large pelvis, this will make it look small. To start this bike up, you need to put the key in. So there's a small hole underneath, which put it in, turn it, and then as you turn it, this lock pin will come out, and then you can go up here and you can press the power button, which is this one here, and hold it, and it will boot up. Then you've got a few things that are on the screen, and you can adjust all of these with the thumb switches here. So you've got the mode that it's in, and if you press and hold I, it goes Eco, which saves the battery power, Normal, and Sport. Now whenever I ride it, I put it in Sport. Additionally, you've got the only other real buttons you need are these plus and minus buttons. So the plus button will increase the level of power assist that you have. So 5 is basically everything, and then 0 is nothing, so you'd be just walking along. Now this bike has got automatic lights, so if you put your finger over the light sensor just to sort of imitate it, shortly after that this little symbol comes on to tell you the lights have come on, like that, and also at the back. Now if I take my finger off it, it'll take about 10 or 12 seconds, a bit faster than that, and then the light goes off and it cracks back down. To start this bike up, you need to put the key in. So there's a small hole underneath, which put it in, turn it, and then as you turn it, this lock pin will come out, and then you can go up here and you can press the power button, which is this one here, and hold it, and it will boot up. Then you've got a few things that are on the screen, and you can adjust all of these with the thumb switches here. So you've got the mode that it's in, and if you press and hold I, it goes Eco, which saves the battery power, Normal, and Sport. Now whenever I ride it, I put it in Sport. Additionally, you've got the only other real buttons you need are these plus and minus buttons. So the plus button will increase the level of power assist that you have. So 5 is basically everything, and then 0 is nothing, so you'd be just walking along. Right, to just give you a quick overview of some of the functions that this has, when you boot it up, you can press the I button and it gives you some of the trip control functions that are available. If you press plus, it changes the power level. We'll go back to down to 0, and if you press that when it's in 1, it'll take off. If you press the plus and the minus buttons together at the same time, you end up in the setup menu, so you can clear your data in there. In setup, you've got your units, which is metric or imperial. You've got the brightness for the screen, the automatic power off, and speed limit. Then in personalization, you've got a few functions like the cruise control, automatic headlights. This one's an interesting one. This is the power settings. So you can either have 5 power settings, or you can have 3, 9. So they're the ones that you can have. So I'll leave mine on, I think I'll leave it on 3. So, sorry, on 5. So if you press that, and then go down, and then out there, then press back again, and then you get into here, and system info just tells you what the human machine interface is. And then back takes you back out to the main screen. So this is the bike folded in half. I've put the seat down, I've folded the handlebars over. It is extremely compact. You could actually get it a bit more compact than this, but I've just settled for that. Folded the pedals in, and that'll go in the back of most cars. And so we find ourselves in the middle of nowhere, and it's time for a road test. So I am suitably attired, and this is the bike. So I've had to improvise with the bottle holder, but it works. The front mudguard's been removed because you can go a bit faster, and the bike's there ready on the kickstand. So let's go for a road test. So in 0, there's no assist at all, so it's just like pedaling. If you put it in 1, you get a little bit of assist. 2 gives you a wee bit more, a noticeable kick more. 3, 4, and then 5. As soon as you press the brakes, it stops. The acceleration on this thing is absolutely phenomenal, so let's get going. What's it like while riding? So we're riding along and it's just like a dawdle. 25, 26 k's per hour is really, really quite easy. If I went up to full speed, you wouldn't be able to hear me. That's about it. This slide is a technical slide, and it's based on what I found, not what the manufacturer specified. On the left-hand side, we have the range, which is the range when you are just on the throttle and you do not pedal. So in the highest setting, which is 5, you're going to get about 31, 32 k's, which is roughly 20 miles. That's probably not a realistic range, because if you pedal, you'll go considerably further. On the other end of the spectrum, if you go down to level 2, which is probably the most reasonable speed that you can travel at for a long distance, so 20 k's per hour, something like that, you'll be going sort of almost 70 k's straight on the battery without pedaling. On the right hand side, again, we've got some of the features that, some of the stats that I recorded. So from completely flat, it's 7 hours to recharge, and that's consistent 7 hours to recharge. Obviously there will probably be some battery degradation over time, but that's what it is at the moment. You can replace the battery, so that kind of takes the degradation bit out. 64 kilometer per hour top speed of the power from the unit plus me pedaling, so that is 40 miles an hour. And then if you are just going, tootling along, you can easily do 45 kilometer per hour. That won't be particularly difficult at all. And then the V max is about 50 kilometers per hour, which is roughly 31 miles per hour. I mean, to be honest, the stats on this are really, really good. The actual real world performance is excellent. There's no real issues at all with it. It certainly, blew my mind away. What do I think about this overall? I honestly think it's fantastic. As a piece of transport to get from A to B, it is brilliant. The fact that you can press the throttle from a set of traffic lights and get going straight away is a really good feature to have that a lot of e-bikes don't have. It's been through sand, gravel, asphalt, tracks, everything, and it has been pretty much faultless. Everywhere I go, all of my friends, all of my colleagues want to have a go on it, and that kind of speaks for itself, and they're all really, really impressed. I'd have no hesitation in buying another one, honestly would not. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please remember to smash that like button. If you've got any questions or queries or comments, please use the comment box below, and as always, keep banging your hairdresser.